History is full of people who thought they were smarter than the universe. Welcome to Approx History. Today we are doing two stories too crazy to be fiction. From a man who stole a plane with a BMB in his bag and then jumped out of it and vanished into thin air, to a man who built his own private city in the Amazon and lost to nature. But before we do that, let's get you up to speed. If you want to know what happened to our series, listen up. Story number 1, Fordlandia, Henry Ford. The man who put the world on wheels. The guy who looked at the world and said, "Man, everyone should have a car." And then turned around and made it terrifyingly possible. Model T, assembly line, mass production, boom, modern capitalism's father figure. And yet Ford wasn't just a businessman, he was also a philosopher king. Once published a book called The International Jew. I guess he didn't hate all capitalists equally. He hated alcohol, loved banjos. He was basically Elon Musk with more hats and fewer memes. And here's the setup. Cars run on rubber. Rubber comes from rubber trees. And in the 1920s, the British controlled most of the rubber supply. Now, Ford didn't like asking Britain for anything, so he thought, you know what? I'll just make my own rubber empire in the Amazon. Easy. And thus began one of history's weirdest colonization projects. He set out to conquer the jungle with tractors and time clocks. And he found the perfect spot on the Rio del Bajo. Plenty of clearing, plenty of bugs. So Ford Motor Company bought 2.6 million acres of the surrounding forest and set to work. In 1926, Fordlandia was born, a city in the Brazilian jungle owned by Ford, designed to be a Midwestern utopia except tropical. He shipped in American managers, tractors, blueprints, and a dream. And the first problem showed up immediately: the jungle. Turns out you can't just bulldoze a rainforest and expect it to behave like Detroit. The insects, the heat, the soil, they all hated him personally. Ford insisted on American rules. Workers had to wear khakis, eat in cafeterias that served oatmeal, canned peaches, and hamburgers. No alcohol. No women on site. No fun. Basically, he built the worst summer camp in history. The Brazilian workers? Yeah, they hated it. They wanted beans, manioc, meat, not boiled carrots, and lectures about hygiene. So they rioted. They actually flipped cars and chased managers with machetes, because nothing says corporate culture clash like a riot in a rubber town. And the trees? Oh, the trees. Rubber trees in the wild need space. Ford, king of the assembly line, planted them in neat rows. The insects looked at this and said, "Thanks for the buffet." Leaf blight spread, caterpillars feasted, the plantations collapsed. By the 1940s, Ford had sunk tens of millions into this tropical nightmare. Fordlandia had hospitals, golf courses, even a water tower with his name on it. But no rubber. The whole purpose? Failed. The city became a ghost town, swallowed by vines. Today you can still visit Fordlandia. It's a ruin. Concrete skeletons of American-style houses stand empty. The jungle won. And Henry Ford, the man who built an industrial empire, lost a staring contest with mosquitoes. Ford could mass-produce cars. But happiness in the Amazon? Nope, not so much. Now story number 2, D.B. Cooper, November 24th, 1971, Thanksgiving Eve. A man walks into Portland Airport. Suit, tie, sunglasses. He orders a bourbon and soda. Name on the ticket, Dan Cooper. He looks boring. Middle-aged, like the kind of guy who sells you insurance you don't want. But once he's on Northwest Orient Flight 305, he hands the stewardess a note. She thinks it's his phone number. Nope. It says, "I have a bomb." He opens a briefcase. Inside, wires, red sticks, batteries. She believes him because, wouldn't you? Cooper makes his demands. $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, and a fuel truck waiting in Seattle. That's it. No politics, no speeches. Just give me money and let me vibe. The plane lands. FBI scrambles. They bring him the cash and parachutes. He lets the passengers go. Cool as hell. Polite. Even tips the stewardess. Then he orders the pilots. Fly low, keep the back staircase unlocked, head toward Mexico. And somewhere over the forests of Washington, in the dark, in the rain, in freezing wind, he straps on a parachute, ties the money to himself, and jumps. Just like that. When the plane lands in Reno, he's gone. No Cooper, no money, just an empty seat and a legend. The FBI launches the biggest manhunt in American history. Thousands of suspects, ex-cons, ex-soldiers, even women in disguise. Every year, new tips. Every decade, new suspects. All dead ends. In 1980, a boy finds $5,800 of Cooper's ransom money buried by a river. Weathered, rotten bills. That's it. That's the only physical trace ever recovered. Was he a genius who got away? Or did he splat on a tree like an unlucky piñata? Nobody knows. To this day, Cooper is the only successful hijacker in U.S. history who was never caught. He became folklore, songs, books, conspiracy theories. D.B. Cooper wasn't even his real alias. That was a typo by a journalist. But the name stuck. Now he's part myth, part meme, part bar joke. The man who ordered a bourbon, stole $200,000, and vanished into thin air. Literally. So what did we learn? That Henry Ford, king of the assembly line, couldn't outsmart mosquitoes. And that D.B. Cooper, king of the polite hijackers, outsmarted the entire FBI. One man tried to build a city that disappeared. The other disappeared himself. History doesn't repeat, but sometimes it rhymes in the dumbest way possible. And if you want more dumb history, follow us on social media where we post daily. Also, like our video where we publish weekly episodes of us mocking history. This channel is brought to you by our supporters. Follow Approx History, where billionaires, criminals, and mosquitoes all get their punchline.